Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, Sales Software Series, your go-to for insights, innovations, and transformations in the world of sales software. I'm your host, Jalen Nelson, and today we have a very special guest joining us. We have Aaron Browning, Head of Sales at FrontSpin, a cloud-based sales communication tool claiming to help you engage up to 3 times more prospects and customers in less time, closing more deals and accelerating your sales. In this episode, we're going to put that to the test. Aaron's going to show us the inner workings of FrontSpin, including its features, and discuss how it implements playbooks across all touch points. So, whether you're a seasoned sales professional looking to level up your game or a newcomer eager to learn from the best, this is the episode you won't want to miss. Buckle up, get ready to transform your sales process. Let's get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Jalen. I'm happy to be here. Appreciate everybody taking the time to view our clip.
Yeah. So, Aaron, quick question. One, what's FrontSpin?
So FrontSpin, you hit it. You know, if I was going to look to get another SDR, I might call Jalen and say, "Hey, man, that was a good pitch. We could use you on the team." It's a crowded space, right? Everybody knows there's tons of players. It's easy to get lost in this thing, and we're just another flavor of ice cream. There's all these different flavors of ice cream, but our flavor, the thing that matters the most to our clients, is the phone. All our
Hmm.
clients see the phone as the dominant channel. And it's okay. If you're not that, there's other tools for that. But if you want that energy, when we have the booming offices, our C titles that run our clients, they want to come into the floor. They want to hear you on the phone because, as we know, cold calling is brutal. It's the hardest job in the company. But when other people next to you are on the phone, it's contagious. You want to get on that phone. So FrontSpin really kind of promotes that kind of culture, that kind of energy. Either you want it or you want to make it even better. And that's where we can really help out.
Oh, really? So, with that said, as a communication tool, how would you classify yourself? Like, I mean, I know communication tools a
Yep.
category, but there's a bunch of things. You can be doing some social selling, but I mean, obviously,
Yep.
you use the phone. Are you like an auto dialer? Is that like
Great
uh
question.
how
So
you?
you would put
Yeah.
us in the sales engagement space. It used to be called sales acceleration. I believe now we're all sales engagement. So we have all the channels. You can send a text out of FrontSpin. You can send an automatic email with a cadence out of FrontSpin. You can do a social kind of touch or a social step in what we call a playbook. You know it as a sequence or a cadence. But at the end of the day, the phone will be the dominant channel. But really, it's the one stop place for that lead gen person that's probably going to do 300 plus you know, um, tasks a day, right? Mixing in all those different phone calls, social, and email. That's kind of where we fit.
Nice, nice. So, like, with that said, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of platforms out there with similar features. So like, how is FrontSpin different from those other platforms?
First off, we differentiate by we focused really a lot of our energy on one vertical, and that would be what we call the agencies. These are people that are doing lead generation on behalf of clients. You're going to outsource that to somebody, or at least maybe part of your team. And typically, when you do that, you're going to outsource the hard stuff. And guess what that is? That's a cold call, right? So those companies have particular issues with regard to data because they're working with multiple clients at the same time. So, in other words, Jalen, you might be a prospect for every one of their clients, right? So they have 10 clients, and Jalen could be a prospect for all of them. So that kind of workflow and that kind of data we help our clients get through, as well as it's really common that if I'm the SDR at an agency client of ours, I might work with 3 clients in the same week. So I might cold call for IBM on Monday, Apple on Tuesday. You get the idea. So you have to set up the workflows for that, for the rep to be efficient from the data side. And then there's a cost component. So we make sure from a cost perspective, you don't have to buy 3 licenses for that SDR. You only have to buy one. So we
That's
understand a
great.
lot of these things that the agencies go through. Now, even though we focus there, we have tons of other clients that benefit from the dialer and the efficiency of our workflow. So either you're an agency or you're a company that wants to be dial heavy, that's where FrontSpin fits in.
Hmm. You know, I had some other questions that I was going to ask, but you actually answered them. I was going to ask, what problems does your platform fix? It sounds like one in particular was needing to purchase multiple licenses for a dialer.
Right.
As someone who has worked in an agency, who's run an agency before, I've come across that, and I'm like, it's just me. I'm an independent person, starting
Right.
an agency. I'm like, why do I need 3 lines? Why do I need 5 lines? Why do I have to pay $600 a month for this? And so,
Right.
like, you know, hearing this sounds like a problem that would be a good. Sounds like you guys have provided a solution that other smaller agency owners um, have probably come across as well. But with that said, what other sorts of problems do you fix?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that's happened in the last 2 years is the FCC came out with this stir shaken policy, which was a policy to kill robocalls, which we all want to get rid of. But unfortunately, that bled into our B2B world. So it's really common now that when the reps start making a lot of phone calls, your call comes up spam likely. Well, we know what happens when spam likely shows up on our cells. Delete, delete, turn it
Yeah.
over. We don't answer them. So unfortunately, you're taking once again the hardest job in the company, now making it more difficult because people aren't going to pick up the phone if spam is showing up. So we actually, this can kind of dovetail into kind of a demo show right now if you want. I can kind of show you live. It's up to you.
Go for
Um,
it. Give us a demo of your platform.
so this is FrontSpin. This is kind of the phone side guys. And one of the cool things about FrontSpin, it's not Twilio. Most of the tools you're going to see out there, 85% of the dialers are using Twilio as the platform. It's fine, it's great, but we built this from the ground up. So it can be really efficient and it's wicked fast. And I'm going to show you hopefully a couple of these options. It's a true what we call progressive power dialer. You're using Chrome. Chrome is required. I'm going to dial right through Chrome. You're not going to bridge to your cell. You're not calling into a bridge. Nobody's making calls on your behalf. You are making the calls one at a time. It's not an overdial. It's what we call a progressive power dialer. So it dials one number at a time. In this mode, I can make 60 dials in an hour. So that's the kind of power that FrontSpin has. But I want to talk specifically about this spam stuff because it's top of mind for everybody. No one wants to waste calls, or it's really the unknown. It's really not knowing if your number's coming up as spam. So this is how this works. If you make 100 dials a day and you just show one number to the world and you're cold calling. So you're not having any real credible conversations, hang up, voicemails, quick, not interested. If you do that a couple days in a row, eventually you're going to start to get flagged by the telcos. Here's the problem. You can get flagged on AT&T, but be fine on Verizon and T-Mobile. So even if you want to check your own self, call your cell, you have to make sure you're on the right telco that you're clear, right? So you just don't know. It's this big unknown, and you can clean them, but you lose time cleaning and trying to replace the number. You can have days and days and days where you're spam likely, you don't even know it. So what we do is we give you a number of ways to get over that. One of them is you get an assigned number with FrontSpin. We're going to be your phone. You can choose the area code, and you can have multiple numbers here. You can see in this case I have 3, and if I hit balance, what happens is when I start calling, I make my 100 dials, the system is going to actually show each one of these a third of the time. So I'm not going to show the same number 100 times. I'm going to show each one of these about 33 times. Once again, staying away from that 100 cold call number against the same number. That will get you spammed. The other thing that we do, these other ones people know about local presence. Random presence is the greatest way to not have to change anything. So random presence takes the batch of local presence that we give each client, which is about 260 numbers. And when Nick, the SDR, chooses local presence, every time he calls, it's a different number. Now, it's not going to match local. You're going to call Seattle, it might show Austin. You call Texas, it might show California. So you lose the local presence, but because it's a different number every time, you're never going to get spam likely. So between these features here, mixing up these numbers and using random presence, you'll know as an SDR your calls are always going through. And that's what's really important in today's age.
Hmm. Nice, nice. As someone who has, I've made cold calls live. I've when I've had to, like, change the numbers around with other power dialers, and I've known that random presence was a thing. Granted, I didn't know what to call it until now.
Right.
Now I have like a name for it. So uh, random presence. If you're watching this, random presence means that someone's more likely to pick up the phone uh, because it's just a random number. So you are not dealing with, this is spam as much
Right.
anymore. You don't have to switch your number as much. In the past, I've had something similar and it's worked out. With that said, I mean, while we're here, Why don't you show us some more stuff?
Yeah, let's take a look at the dialer so people can get a sense for kind of the speed at which it can move. And one of the things that we do that's really unique, once again, because it's not Twilio, everybody has pre-recorded voicemails. You can do that in anybody's system. They're all going to be generic. That's how most people work. So when I drop this webinar invitation, your name's not on it. It's just a generic, we have this, have this invitation coming up. With FrontSpin, because it's not Twilio, I can personalize a voicemail. So when I drop it, and I'm going to make some calls, and you'll see this, I'm going to say the person's name. Our system attaches those two files together. So when the prospect hears it, they think I said the whole thing in that moment. I didn't. This is pre-recorded, and I put the live intro of their name. So it's kind of a cool thing if you really want to use voicemails, because you can get your brand out, you can control the messaging. If they listen to 15 seconds, that's better than nothing. So there's different ways you can use voicemail, especially if you can personalize them. So FrontSpin works the same as anybody. These are essentially my cadences. You can have a classic cadence where you're mixing in all the different channels. Social, Sendoso will send swag on your behalf. Some of you might know them or use them. Automatic emails, SMS, and then obviously, different types of phone calls. A lot of our clients, guys, and you guys might do this today, will do most of their calling in power hours, right? It's usually longer than an hour. Let's call it a call blitz. So the best time in the late morning, the best time after lunch, that's where your head's down and you're calling. And we'll largely do call only steps because, as everybody knows, these are great on paper, but what happens if I don't make this phone call? This email never goes out, right? So it can be super frustrating. These can be frustrating. That's the last thing we want. We don't want to take this tool that's supposed to be efficient and now make you less efficient. We want to simplify it. So with FrontSpin, we're always going to try to break out the emails, let these go on their own every 3 days. These are the same 28 people by design. Then we layer on a call-only campaign to do when it's blitz time. And you can see the users are actually instructed to change their outbound identifier in each one of these steps to ensure we're staying away from spam likely, and also to show a different number. So you can get people, you can hit them a lot, and then hopefully they'll pick up. So I'm gonna go ahead and dial list. These are weather service numbers, but hopefully, knock on wood, they'll behave right now. I'll drop some voicemails. If Eugenia picks up, we're live on a call, guys. It's like any other phone. It's just like any VoIP phone, like your cell phone.
I want this. I know the audience wants this.
Yeah. I know we got to get a good one. I should have built it in. I'm going to hang up on that one because I think it's bad. You could see when the call ends, we're on the fastest mode. One of our clients labeled this ludicrous speed. But as soon as the call ends, I hang up, they hang up, or I drop a voicemail. It's going to auto dial the next person in the record. So I'm just looking for a good number here. But you can see how efficient it is. You can see how smooth it is. That's one of the reasons companies like Zoom Info, they're our largest client. Their clients, and they've used us for the last 8 years, and they've tried every dialer under the sun. And FrontSpin is the most efficient. So now I'm in Shay's voicemail. You do have to wait for the beep. So while I'm hearing and waiting for the beep, I tee this up. I'll do it a couple times. Beep. Hi, Shay. So let me tell you what's happening. The system is leaving a personalized webinar invitation to Shay. I pre-recorded the body, said the name on entry, simultaneously already calling Shirley. So now I'm in Shirley's voicemail, waiting for the beep. Beep. Hi, Shirley. So I just left 2 personalized webinar invitations in 4 seconds. I'm on my 3rd phone call. So you guys can see the kind of power and efficiency you can have with FrontSpin. I'm going to give my pitch here. Beep. Hi, son. And now I'm on to Tawana. So it's a lot for people to take in the first time. I would never start a user at this speed, but this is the kind of power that FrontSpin has.
This is very powerful. The fact that one, you got email and SMS in there as well. So, and you're able to create cadences with that. As from my experience, power dialers are just like power dialers. So you'd be making calls, but then you have a totally different platform for emails. And that's to have it all in one, where you're able to put a situation where I call someone and then I have a follow-up email, or I email someone and then I have a follow-up call. uh, you know Actually, a part of our strategy here at CloudTask has been like, we email people and then I'm calling through the list of people that we emailed, and we've actually been very efficient because of this. I may be lucky that I come across a lot of positive people on the phone.
Yeah.
So I'm not like getting hung up on, as it's like not, it's like 50-50.
That's great. That's really good.
And so like something like this that just puts those together rather than us having to send out an email blast in the morning and then I'm like calling through people. It's like I can email somebody and then call them 10 minutes later. And I
You
know
can.
that, yeah. And I think that's great.
And you can see here what we do, and a lot of tools can do this, but you're doing it all in one frame. To your point, Jalen, I've got this email going out now. Before I start calling them, I can filter by what's happened with the email engagement so far, because I'm probably going to send this out a few days before I start calling. So one way is who's opened it the most so far. If I put a link in that email, who's clicked on the link? So now I can really sort this order and say, I want to call off of clicks. I want to call off a title. I want to call off a time zone. So I can really hone in this view before I start dialing.
Oh yeah, that is spectacular. This
And if you're
yeah, I
using a
mean that's
marketing
great.
tool, if you got a Marketo or a Pardot, we can bring those fields in. You could actually call off of Marketo right from FrontSpin.
While we're talking about other tools here, what other integration, like what all integrations do you have for this?
Yeah, so for us, we're still heavily tied to Salesforce. So most of our clients are going to attach Salesforce on the back end. We have different ways to kind of mitigate the cost on the Salesforce side, so you can kind of get the best of all worlds. Salesforce, the big benefit to our clients besides reporting is their integrations. Because they're the 1,600-pound gorilla, everybody's integrated with them. And what's great about our integration, and it's real time in both directions, is that once it's in Salesforce, we can work with it in FrontSpin. So by default, we effectively get all of Salesforce's integrations. But we are also integrated to the top conversational intelligence companies, people like Gong, Chorus, and Exec Vision. We have integrations with those folks, as well as on the meeting side with Chili Piper.
Okay, nice,
And we
nice.
are and Vidyard. You can actually use Vidyard for free with FrontSpin and drop in videos. It's just their free Go video, which is their little alien. I use that personally. I don't have to use the paid version, but I can drop in a recording here that I would send off to a prospect or client. That's mine. I can hear myself talking. So yeah,
Great.
that kind of covers the integrations.
Awesome, awesome. Uh, so with that said, how I mean this tool is incredibly comprehensive. It looks like some. I mean, I know for sure I would use it. So with that said, what would something like that cost?
Yeah,
What is
so
the
we
pricing?
we price it per user. So the price starts at, and we're global, so you can be anywhere, Jalen, and you could call anywhere in the world. But if your calls are ending in the US and Canada, which is probably, 70% of our clients, you could still sit in the Philippines and call into North America. You could sit in Texas, call in North America. It'd be the same price. It's 125 per user per month. That's for everything you've seen here today. There's no usage bill with FrontSpin. Because we don't use Twilio, you're never going to get some phantom per minute bill because you made too many calls or you talk too much. So you know your cost with FrontSpin. It's all unlimited. And those give you, for the 125, you have this view right here with additional numbers. These two come as a separate package. We charge it per client, not per user. So each customer would pay $200 a month, and all their users would have access to these two options.
Okay,
So if you started with 10, you scale to 200, it's still the same 200 a month for everybody to have access to this.
okay,
No cost for
great.
setup. And then we're big on, because we're more boutique, because we are self-funded, we're also lucky enough to be profitable, but our path is different than a lot of our competitors. We're all in when it comes to training and support. You don't have to pay for other levels. Everything includes unlimited training and support. We get back to help tickets in under 2 minutes. We jump on the phone with you, we'll get on Zoom with you, whatever it takes. We want happy, active customers. And that means we have to step up when it comes to training and support.
And that's the theme. Happy customers, right? So with that said, if you're watching this and you're an agency, maybe you're a newcomer, you're just starting an agency, if this is something that you're interested in, you can click the link below, or you can message Aaron on LinkedIn, I'm guessing.
Perfect. I love that.
Check
Yeah.
check out Aaron Browning on LinkedIn, click the link below, and have a great day.